So I've been using the DJI Smart Controller for the past couple of weeks now, and since I posted my very first video last week, there's definitely a lot of questions and concerns out there. So in this video, I just want to be able to answer some of those questions and also just kind of tell you how it's been for the past couple of weeks using the DJI Smart Controller. And if you guys are new here, my name is Aldrin Stasio with FlytPath.com. I do a lot of drone tech tips, tutorials, and product reviews on this channel. So if that's something that interests you, consider subscribing and hitting that bell to be notified when I post new videos. And if you guys haven't seen those previous two videos on the Smart Controller that I did, make sure you guys check the link above. There's a playlist here for the Smart Controller. It just talks a little bit more about it. I do have the unboxing, the first look video, as well as my previous video. I talked a little bit more about how the Go Share function works. So make sure you guys check those out. I go into a lot more detail in those videos. So let's dive right into it, guys. These are the questions and concerns that you guys had and you guys posted on my previous videos. Now, of course, the top comment is around price at $649. It's definitely not one of the more affordable accessories for the DJI Mavic, but at the same time, all these concerns, all these questions, and all these comments also came out when Crystal Sky was released. Now, when Crystal Sky was released, everyone really liked it and really wanted it, but of course, it was another accessory to your Mavic. It was not something that you had to have. And this is very similar. This is not something you have to have, because if you already have a phone or a tablet and you're using the existing remote control, it's definitely a nicety. It's not a necessity in a sense. And the same way goes for the Crystal Sky. It really depends on how you're using your rig. If you feel like you're going to really benefit from having the all-in-one system here, then of course this might be a better way for you to go. But this Crystal Sky is the exact same way. When they came out with it at $450, $500 for the 5-inch, all the way up to $1,000, it definitely was one of those things where it's like, man, that's an expensive accessory to have. But of course, I'm fine with my phone, I'm fine with my iPad or my tablet. This goes in that same kind of space where it'd be nice to have. It's not a necessity to fly. It's not going to make or break your deal. It is definitely one of the things where it's more of a convenience factor for you to have something like this. So if you haven't already purchased your Mavic 2 Pro or Mavic 2 Zoom, now you're able to upgrade or go into the bundle where the Smart Controller is included in it for an extra $400. So that way, I feel like it's a lot more logical if you haven't purchased one yet. It is an accessory. You don't have to have it. I would just really take it back and just determine the use case for it. And if you feel like you have to have it for what you do, then definitely I think it's a really good investment. Now, backwards compatibility is another big one. A lot of people that have a Spark, a Mavic Air, a Mavic Pro wanted to use this controller for those drones, but unfortunately right now it is on OcuSync 2.0, which the only systems that are running OcuSync 2.0 right now are the Mavic 2 Pro, the Mavic 2 Zoom, as well as the Mavic 2 Enterprise. So as far as backwards compatibility, it does not look like it's going to be backwards compatible for those drones. Moving forward though, I believe what I know is that they're going to be making sure that the drones moving forward will be compatible with this remote control, even if they're going to come out with updated technology, updated hardware. From what I know, I believe that they should be supporting this remote control moving forward. Third-party apps. Now, third-party apps are something that a lot of people have questions on, and yes, you can actually access the Google Play Store as well as the Amazon App Store on the remote control. Basically, you just need to have your Wi-Fi set up, and you're able to access all of that information and all those websites through the application itself and make those downloads. I haven't been able to test out some of those third-party apps because I really don't use any other third-party apps besides the DJI Go 4 app. But just to let you know, you are able to access those stores. You're able to access and download those applications. Once I do some further testing, I do want to make sure I'm able to also download and test on the Enterprise. I have yet to do that, so I do want to test those out. But as far as some of those third-party applications, you can use it just the same way you're using it on your Android phone. You're able to download everything from games to other applications onto this device. So having this as a secondary controller. So this is something that I had a question of right when I got it, because I was like excited to have my stock controller and then have this one and possibly do a dual op. So if you don't know what a dual op is, basically you can have one pilot piloting the drone, and then you can have a secondary person doing the camera work. Unfortunately, as of right now, and I'm going to talk and say as of right now because these are things that I think might be software related that could possibly be incorporated later. DJI is not confirming that, but as of right now, they are not supporting a dual operator, so you can't have your stock remote control as the pilot one and then possibly have like a smart controller as the camera operator. That would have been really cool, but as of right now, it's not supported. I'm not sure if it's going to be supported in the future. So if I have a Mavic 2 Pro and a Mavic 2 Zoom, am I able to use one remote control for both of them? The answer is yes, but you can't use them simultaneously. So you're going to have to unbind and rebind for the other one. So this is a question for people who have the Mavic Pro, as well as possibly Mavic Zoom, and maybe even the Mavic, Enterprise, where you just want to buy one remote and use them for all three. The answer is yes, you can do that, but you're not able to use it, of course, simultaneously. So you're not able to use one remote and pilot two different aircrafts. You have to unbind it from, say, the Mavic Pro and rebind it with the Mavic Zoom. So you can have one remote, you just have to rebind it every time. Now in the menu system, there's a button called SRE, which is Sunlight Readable Enhancement. Now this is different than just the brightness of the screen itself. This SRE actually gives you a few different options here that helps you change the contrast, change the highlights. So it makes it a little bit different, and it actually works with the curves differently. So the brightness is one thing, but SRE is another one where if you're in different circumstances, different lighting situations, you're able to check a different SRE, and it might bump up your mids and your lows, or it might bring down your highlights. So SRE is a different function compared to just the brightness of the screen. One of the questions is, what are those two screw holes at the very bottom of the remote control? Now that was one of my questions first when I first got this, because I was trying to think of where I would put a lanyard or some sort of strap on it. But as of right now, DJI has not released any accessories, but they are open to third-party accessories for these screw holes to be used. I'm currently using this thing as a wrist strap. And as far as thread goes, I wasn't sure what the thread was, but what's interesting is that the remote control stick thread actually fits perfectly on the bottom of it. I know it's not made for it, but that thread actually works for the remote control stick, which is right here at the very bottom. So what I'm going to be using it for is just putting a wrist strap and just getting a screw that goes into it. But as far as the two holes go from DJI, I don't believe at this moment they have any accessories for it, but it's open to have accessories attached to this. More than likely, if you want to be able to mount this onto a tripod or some other mounting station, or if you just want to have accessories like a lanyard or a wrist strap, you can use these screws for those purposes. Now, as far as charging goes, I would recommend, of course, using their fast charger that comes with the remote control, because when you plug it in, it actually is fast charging. You actually see the LEDs here move a lot quicker, but you can use a power bank for the bottom. It's a USB-C plug. Hook that up to your power bank. But the thing that I've been using and seeing with my power banks is that when I do plug it in, it'll always pull up a message that says it's going to be charging at a slower rate. So I have multiple power banks, and for some reason, each one of them will still say it's going to be charging really slow. So definitely it'll work, but using the wall charger that comes with is going to be your fastest charge for this smart controller. Now on the back of the remote, there's an HDMI out. Now this can be used to be projected onto a secondary monitor. All you have to do is plug this into either your goggles or a secondary monitor for you to also be able to pilot and have another monitor, screen, or TV here on the side showing you exactly what is on your screen. Now you are able to do a clean out, so you're able to have that secondary monitor have no on-screen display, just exactly what the drone is seeing, or you can have it so it's duplicate view, which is basically a mirrored view of what's on the screen, so you would see your OSD on the secondary monitor as well. There's another function called picture-in-picture. For some reason, I couldn't figure that one out just yet. I'll probably do a little bit more testing on that to figure out how and where that works. I did switch it on, but for some reason, it wasn't showing me a picture-in-picture. So I'll do some more testing around that. But just to let you guys know, yes, you can do a clean out, which is called camera view, which is showing you what exactly the camera sees. And then there's also a duplicate view, which is basically a mirror of what's on your remote onto that secondary monitor. And also when you plug in that monitor to this device, it'll bring up a full list of settings of resolutions that you're able to use and view that secondary monitor with. By default, it should be on auto, so it'll more likely pick an auto setting for that secondary monitor to show you the best resolution, but you should be able to now view and choose from any resolution that it does support through the application itself. A full list will come up of showing you all the different types of resolutions you can use to output to that secondary monitor. Another question was a USB port here on the back. Now, a lot of people had questions on that, and I did too when I first got it. But what you can use that USB for is if you had multiple card types, you can actually use a USB hub. So if you had an SD card, a micro SD, any other ones, you can actually use a regular standard hub, plug that hub USB into here, and you can actually pull the footage directly from there. Also, you can use that USB port to hook up a 4G adapter. So if you wanted to have service on this remote control and you had a 4G adapter, or you wanted to tether an internet source like your phone to this, you can actually plug it in here and use it as a 4G adapter. Also, you're able to tether this if you wanted to have internet on your smart controller. And one cool function that a lot of people really don't use that much is the ability to touch the screen and drag your finger around. And when you drag your finger around, it'll actually move the camera around. So this actually came back way back in the day with the Inspire, but you can also do it on the Mavic 2 Pro, Mavic 2 Zoom. All you have to do is touch the screen and you can actually drag your finger across, and that camera will move from left to right, up and down. So it's very helpful if you want to do some soft and slow pans. You can actually use your finger instead of using the joysticks or your dials. So there it is, guys. Just wanted to answer some of the most common questions you guys had on my last previous videos. So I hope I was able to do that in this one. There's definitely a ton of features in this remote control that I'll go into more details later in future videos. But as always, guys, if you guys got some value from my video, please don't forget to hit that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when I post new videos. This is Ultra Stasio with FlytPath.com. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.